Well, surprise, surprise, Big One Xtreme is broken again. Who would have thunk? So the problem now is with this little lever right here. You see, when your door opens up, it comes and it presses that lever forward like that. And that tells it that, okay, the door is all the way forward, and it also releases the lever that blocks the prize door from opening. And then once you open it and remove the prizes, those sensors right there can tell that the prize was removed. And then the door will start to open again, and that should release. The problem is that it's not releasing all the way. In fact, if you listen to this, it makes that loud click noise. And this should just be a smooth open and close, but it's not doing that. Now sometimes you can get away with just bending that metal to where it runs smoothly again, but right now it's at a point where it's just getting too stuck. So what we're going to have to do is remove this little glass panel right here. It's not a horrible thing to do. Just a couple screws all the way around. Now this whole glass door will kind of just slide out of the way. A little bit annoying because there's a lot of balls in here, but and our whole little assembly right back there is being held on by just these 3 screws. Alright, now I believe this should come out. Oh, wait, no, we have more bolts right back here. So I got that bottom one out, but it's really annoying because it looks like I gotta take off this piece of metal right here, because it looks like that screw right there lines up right about here somewhere. Gotta love it. Alright, there's that. And yep, just like I thought, another nut down there. It would have been way too hard to put a hole in that piece of metal, wouldn't it? Way too hard. Way too hard, huh? Alright, now that those are out, can I take this out now? Yes, I can. Alright, so here's the little lever assembly. Right in there, it appears to be extremely worn out. That whole part of the bracket is very bent. The pivot point, while not as bad, also appears to be worn out. Man, what a crappy design, huh? You have the lever that rotates on a pivot that rotates another piece down here that goes through that piece of metal and through that piece of metal. And there's not a single bearing, bushing, or anything. This thing was just built to fail. So the question is, what do I do about it? I mean, I could order a whole new assembly, but then that would mean that the game is going to be down for Saturday, today, and that's not ideal. Okay, so here we are with this little assembly. I've been kind of playing with it, and I realized that the reason why it was clicking was because this screw right here was loose. As you can see, it's no longer making that clicking noise. However, it's definitely still messed up, right? I think the biggest issue is that this joint right here is very, very loose. And the second biggest issue is that that down there is really loose. However, I would very much like for this to still be able to be used today because today is Saturday. So we're going to see what we can do. There was a nut back there. I can take this off. And now we'll just flip this over and we'll take that screw out too. This one is the one that's really bad. Yeah, I don't know if that hole's supposed to be worn out like that. I'm also fairly certain this should be like straight. Now I can pull this out. And the spring. Yeah, this whole thing just looks super duper abused. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of come at it with different tools like a hammer, some vice grips and stuff, just to try to bend that back into shape. If I'm being perfectly honest, I think it still looks like crap. I don't know how much of a difference what I did made, but if nothing else, I kind of feel like the openings might be a little bit more square to each other. Like I said, I'm going to order another one. This is just to get us through the weekend. So here's my problem though. I want to upsize those holes, that way I can use bigger hardware. But in the case of like this arm, I don't have any extra material right there. And then even this side barely has any material. So if I make them bigger, then I'll have nothing to really feed any hardware through. Also, I don't have lock nuts in any sizes bigger than this. So that kind of leaves me in a pickle. I could reassemble it and then just hope it works for a while. I could down the game completely for the weekend until I get a new assembly. I just really hate how they made this as cheap as possible. Really no thought at all seemingly to how it would wear. So I think my best bet is to just reassemble it, put it back in the game, and then hope it works. at least long enough to get me through the weekend. That way it's not down during the most important time. So we'll just slide that guy back in, put this back on, flip it over, and we got our spacer and our nut. So do y'all remember that little kink that I said was in this piece? I removed it, and I don't think I should have. Because now I'm running into there pretty hard. And putting that back in is going to be even harder. So unfortunately, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this back up today. Maybe on a normal day I could devote more time to it, but I'm getting a lot of calls today and I'm here by myself. So I really just can't focus on this. So I'm going to get this part ordered like now. That way it's already going to be on the way. And then when I get the new one, I'll show myself installing it. I'm also kind of curious if I can make it better. I don't know how, but I'm pretty confident I can make one better than this is. Just to be honest, this is kind of crappy. Anyways, I got stuff to go do. So that's it.